Have things gotten so bad in our world that trusting Yah is our only option? Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day number 3, the double Torah portion, Bahar, meaning on the mount, and Bakukatai, meaning in his statutes. Now let's go again to V'ikra, Leviticus chapter 25. And let's come down then to verse number 6. And it says, "And the Shabbat of the land shall be to you for food, for you and your servant, and for your female servant, your hired servant, for the stranger who sojourns with you, for your livestock and the beasts that are in your land, all its crops are for food. And you shall count 7 Shabbats of years for yourself, 7 times 7 years. And the time of the 7 Shabbats of years shall be to you 49 years. You then shall sound a shofar sound on the 10th day of the 7th new moon, on Yom HaKippurim, cause a shofar to sound through all your land, and you shall set the 50th year apart, and proclaim release to all the land, to all of its inhabitants. It is a Yovel, what we have called a Jubilee. A Yovel for you, and each of you shall return to his possession, and each of you return to his clan. The 50th year is a Yovel to you. You do not sow nor reap what grows of its own, nor gather from its unpruned vine. It is a Yovel, it is set apart to you. Eat from the field its crops." Now, it would make much more sense on the common sense scale that if we are going to allow the land to rest, if that's the goal, is to give the land a break so that it's not worn out from constant repeated planting. A more managed situation, a more common sense approach might be every year you let 1/7 of the land be at rest and you plant the other 6/7. And each year you just rotate which part of the land, which 7th of the land is to be given a rest. That way you have consistent crops every year. Now that might be a more westernized, maybe American mindset of how to do things. That's not Yah's plan. That's not what he said to do. And so we would say, well, I'm giving the land a rest. I'm doing what he said. No, that's not what he said to do. Going against the grain of man's managerial common sense, the Shemitah cycle says, plant all of the land for 6 years in a row. On the 6th year's crop, it will be a bumper crop. Now, you might think, well, by that time the land has gotten tired. Maybe we've exhausted all the mineral resources out of it. Whatever we might think, Yah says the land will yield to you a bumper crop, a large crop. And then you are to receive this crop and hold it in store, because the following year, the 7th year of the cycle, you're not to plant anything. Now, there will be some fallen seeds that will come up. There will be some vines that will produce grapes, even though you don't prune the vines. There will be some volunteer crops coming out of the ground. We're not to reap them all for ourselves, but leave them where they are, and anyone who wants to come through your fields and pick grapes off of your vine or volunteer food out of your ground may freely do so. In the American mind, we want to put up a big fence around our property. We want to put electronic monitoring on our property. We want a pack of guard dogs on our property. We want surveillance. We want drones overhead just to protect and keep what is, quote unquote, ours. And therein lies the fallacy of our minds, and that is that what is in our possession belongs to us. The Torah mindset is this, and it goes against every grain that you and I have been raised to believe and understand to be true. Whatever is in our possession, under our eyes, under our hand, does not belong to us, but rather it belongs to Yah. Even down to the very air going in and out of our lungs. Every heartbeat is His. So the vehicles that we have for transportation, yes, we're making payments on them, or maybe we paid them off. Maybe we worked extra jobs and paid for it in cash. However we acquired them, but that vehicle belongs to Him. The clothes on our back, they're His clothes. The food in our pantries and refrigerators, that's His food. This computer that I'm working with right here, any electronics that I have in my office, any ministerial equipment I have, down to the guitars that I have in my office, all of these belong to Him. Because you and I both belong to Him. The earth is Yah's, the world and the fullness thereof. It's all His. So then, if I am aware that food that is growing in my little garden outside volunteers to come up, and my neighbor wants to come get some of it in the 7th year, I'm to sit on my porch and not say a word. Help yourself. If I want some of it, I can go pick some of it. But I'm not to go and grab all of it for myself. That's hard for us. However, in doing so, what we're saying to Yah is we recognize that you, O King, are the sovereign one, and that everything that I have in my hand belongs to you. The reality is we're not owners, we're caretakers, we are stewards, we are His servants. And so if we are faithful and safeguarding and keeping, according to His plan and according to His will, what He has entrusted to us, out of that faithfulness, then He will also make sure that we have increase. Yah is looking for those who have the right mindset and the right heart toward material things and things of necessity, clothes and food and shelter, etc. If He can trust us with what we have to this point, then if we have need of further provision to make things work for Him, then we can ask and He will freely give, because He's already proven our trustworthiness and our faithfulness. The way that we keep things then reflects our value, not just of the things in our hand, but also of Him. So if I have a vehicle that is His vehicle, I drive a truck, I pick up, that truck is not my truck. I like this truck. I like my truck a lot. But then again, I just said my truck, actually it's His truck. And my attitude toward that truck, whether I keep it clean, whether I keep it maintenance, whether I keep it inspected and insurance on it and so forth, make sure that it's running correctly, that's my attitude toward Him. Master, I need to change the oil in your truck. I need provision to buy the oil in the filter, which are not cheap these days. Master, your truck needs 2 tires. Master, your truck needs an exhaust system. Whatever the issue is. And I can go to Him, and because it's His truck and my estimation, He will help me to take care of it. It's a whole different mindset and a different way of looking at things. May Yah refresh our minds and bring us into His view and not our own. And we'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, shalom.